Story 1. For me, it has to be naps and quiet time. As a kid, I hated when I had to rest or take naps because I always wanted to be doing something fun. But now, oh my God, naps are a whole luxury. Also, I used to think quiet moments were boring, but now I actually love some peace and quiet, like sitting with a book or just chilling without any noise. It is funny how the things that felt like punishments as a kid are now the things I look forward to the most as an adult. Story 2. I realized when I got older the reason I hated salad was because it was iceberg lettuce and then it was heavily doused in ranch dressing. Now that I'm older, I'm very fond of a spinach salad with no dressing. I realized I didn't like the salad because it was cold and watery with iceberg lettuce and ranch, which I still today do not like. Spinach salad with all my favorite toppings is now one of my favorite meals. Story 3. I didn't like sitting in silence or spending time alone, but as an adult, I learned to appreciate these moments as an opportunity to relax and be alone with my thoughts. Story 4. My mom swears I never liked pesto. I always remember loving it, but she was apparently shocked recently when I ordered a pesto dish at a restaurant. She made a face and asked, "Since when do you like pesto?" I said, "Always." And she insisted that when I was a kid, I wouldn't even look at pesto. Who knows? Story 5. Listening to the scanner to see if there is an emergency. As a kid, I found it so annoying, and now I want to know what's on fire and what's going on. I get it now, Grandpa. Story 6. Solitude and isolation. When I was a kid, I was always left out of gatherings and hangouts. It made me a very introverted kid. As a very introverted adult, I hate social situations. I deal with it at work. Then, when I get home, I want no one to talk to me. No texts, no calls, no gaming sessions, no hanging out at a bar. Nothing. I just want to be left alone and relax. I love my quiet time. Story 7. Vegetables. My mom was a good cook for many things, but her vegetables were not the best. She'd boil them excessively in water, then discard the colored water with all the flavor and nutrients in it, then serve up vegetables that tasted like boiled water. It wasn't until I was in my 40s and married a woman who cooked them with oil, garlic, and other ingredients that I learned vegetables can be delicious. And now I like them. Story 8. I honestly hated hearing older people's advice when I was younger. It was like, "Oh, can you just be quiet already?" But now that I'm older, I appreciate hearing the older generations give me words of wisdom and advice. Story 9. Football. My dad is obsessed, and every weekend, I would watch movies in the computer room when he watched football. Probably broke his heart, but now I'm a little too obsessed. Funny thing is that he is a Steelers fan and I'm a Bengals fan. So even now that we both watch it, we're still at odds. Sorry, Dad. Love you. Story 10. Showering. I used to hate it because washing my hair just felt like a chore, and the time I spend in the shower at night cut into my TV watching and Nintendogs time. Story 11. Definitely vegetables. As a kid, I thought they were the worst, but now I actually crave them. It makes me wonder what else I am going to end up liking as I get older, like pineapple on pizza. Story 12. Zucchini, eggplant, and seasonings. I was a picky kid, still picky, but I've learned to experiment and have a larger amount of stuff I like. The only veggie I liked was broccoli. I also wasn't willing to test seasonings that weren't garlic, onion powder, and salt. If someone else used the seasonings in my food, then I'd be fine. I just refused to try doing stuff with them myself. As I got older and cooked for myself more, I started experimenting with seasonings, leading to opening up to them more. This especially helped the rare times my family goes to BD's Mongolian Grill, where you make your own raw bowl, including a small bowl or cup you put sauces and seasoning in, before the staff grill it for you. I first tried zucchini at a spaghetti place that had them breaded and deep fried, leading to enjoying them. I later tried it fried or cooked at a hibachi place. While I don't like zucchini plain, if it's cooked into something or breaded, I enjoy it. The same goes for eggplant. I like it breaded or mixed into something. I made some homemade breaded or fried eggplant a few times, and it really helped with these crappy freezer burger sliders kept in the freezer that I got for some reason. I'm not sure if this really counts, but experimenting with food helped me like a couple of things I wasn't interested in messing with as a kid. Story 13. As a child, I didn't particularly enjoy taking naps, but now, as an adult, I relish every opportunity to take a little snooze. It's amazing what a quick power nap can do for your energy levels and mood. Story 14. As a child, I was terrified of balloons. I have always been sensitive to loud sounds, and balloons are prone to randomly popping. Even today, I still have a lot of anxiety when I see a kid playing with a balloon because I just know that the kid will eventually pop it. However, I like having balloons in the comfort of my own home. Story 15. Cherries. I never liked cherry-flavored anything as a kid. A neighbor brought cherries over a few years ago, and for whatever reason, I tried one. Not bad. I'm 64, so that was a long holdout. Story 16. Blue cheese. I found a nice creamy blue cheese from Denmark that I had at a party when I was about 24 years old. As a kid, I couldn't get past the look of the stuff, but as an adult, I love it now. Same thing for lobster in Toronto. Story 17. Perhaps acting silly in public? I used to be a major goofball. But now, when I am out and I see a group of kids being really loud and running around, I just think, oh no. However, I know I was probably no different at their age. Story 18. As a child, I never understood the appeal of quiet moments or alone time. I always wanted to be surrounded by activity and people. But as an adult, I've come to really appreciate the peace and mental clarity that comes with solitude. It gives me time to reflect, recharge, and actually feel more grounded in a fast-paced world. It's funny how something I used to find boring is now something I actively seek out. Story 19. My parents and older siblings would watch things like Mars Attacks, Alien, Signs, and so on when I was young. Therefore, I was mortified of space, the night sky, and being outside at night in rural locations, specifically because of aliens. At some point, I realized that stuff wasn't going to happen to me. This realization came around the age of 18 to 19. I discovered that space was actually really cool. The stars are fascinating and beautiful, and there's so much amazing stuff to see and learn. I am also no longer afraid of being in some rural place looking at the stars at night. Now, I am more concerned about wild animals. I wonder if I could have been more willing to focus on physics-level math if I had realized earlier that space isn't scary but an incredible expanse that we are only barely understanding. Story 20. As a child, I hated going to museums. Now, I cannot get enough of them. The history and art are fascinating, and I love learning about different cultures. Story 21. Pineapple. If I even smelled them on anything, I'd feel like puking. Now, for some reason, they taste amazing, and I use them as often as I can, yes, including pizza. I swear it's some biological or aging thing because I still remember the old flavor I didn't like, and it was nothing like the ones from nowadays. They kind of tasted like mint. Story 22. Getting socks and clothes for Christmas. As a kid, I wasn't a huge fan of receiving clothes or socks as a Christmas gift. All I wanted was toys and art supplies. As I got older, I started to realize it isn't so bad to get clothes for Christmas. Now, it's one of my favorite things to get for Christmas. And art supplies as well. Story 23. Naps. When I was a kid, naps were considered baby stuff. Now that I'm an adult, I want nap time every single day. But now, my son is in the naps are for babies stage, and so the cycle continues. Story 24. Exercise. My parents didn't teach me how to do anything with sports. My mom has vision problems, and I think my dad was autistic. He couldn't skip, so gym class was really hard for me as a kid. I was bullied a lot for skills that no one taught me. Now, I walk a lot. I do yoga. I enjoy it. Story 25. Old video games that were challenging as an adult is like having no time to learn the pattern of that stuff. Just give me something silly and relaxing like the new Astrobot game. Story 26. Men. I was convinced by my upbringing that being gay wasn't even a thing. Man was puberty and eye-opener. Ravioli. I still don't like most pastas with sauces, but for some reason I like ravioli. History. Used to think it was one of the most boring classes in school. I love it now. Cleaning sometimes. When I'm stressed or feeling overwhelmed, I clean. It gives me a feeling of control over something, as well as doing something actually healthy. Day-to-day cleaning I still dislike though, haha. I'm going against the grain and saying I always liked sleeping. I don't know about pre-5 years old, but I know that I did not have any problem sleeping through the night after that and never wanted to get out of bed. LOL. Story 27. Lasagna. Couldn't stand it. My father would stand over me, ordering me to eat it long after everyone else had left the table. I would gag on every bite. Now, as an adult, I absolutely love lasagna. As a kid, I just didn't like my mother's version. She would use cottage cheese instead of ricotta, I don't know why, and the white chunks of curd swimming in red sauce for some reason just really triggered my gag reflex. Story 28. As a kid, I accidentally drank straight vodka because I thought it was water. I remember scraping my tongue, trying to get rid of the taste. Now, as an adult, I get cut off because I drink too much sometimes. I still have yet to black out, but I know I'll get there someday. Story 29. There is a soda sold in the Northeast United States, where I grew up, called Moxie. As a kid, I couldn't stand it. Now, I buy it anytime I can find it. Also, black coffee, I assume they are probably related somehow. Story 30. Shrimp. Grill or saute them? Yes, please. Any other method? Hard pass. Guess which methods were never used for shrimp preparation when I was growing up. Story 31. Fish, spicy food. Spaghetti sauce because of the onion flavor. I like spaghetti now, but only certain brands of sauce. I still don't like onions. I literally had spaghetti noodles with no sauce as a kid. Story 32. Attempting new foods. I was a picky child. Chicken nuggets were the epitome of what I considered good food. Now, I appreciate trying new foods from various cultures and love vegetables, such as asparagus and spinach, which I previously despised. Story 33. Mushrooms. I was never a picky eater, but I didn't like mushrooms. Then my friend gave me half a calzone. It was pepperoni and mushrooms. I didn't see the mushrooms, but I was like, this is great. What is this? And he told me. So I tried a mushroom pizza and loved it. Got a big portobello, cooked it, ate it, and it was delicious. Now, I love them. I will saute a bunch with a little olive oil and garlic and dump it on rice or pasta. Love it. Story 34. Spicy food. I did not like it one bit, but now I can handle very spicy foods. I still choose not to for the most part, but I can appreciate more dishes now. Story 35. Bathing. Don't shame me. I know I was a gross kid. But I don't know. As a kid, I just liked being wild, rambunctious, and dirty. But now I would rather die than be dirty. Also, as an adult, I feel like the shower/bathroom is like a safe space, a place away from reality, where you get to focus on yourself and take care of yourself. Self-care is important, I know. Story 36. Reading. I did not have much of an interest in elementary school. However, after becoming a Christian in 7th grade, I became interested in studying the Bible, which in turn drastically increased my reading and writing skills. Now, I love books. Story 37. Vegetables, learning, working, cheese, oddly enough, staying inside, firearms. As a boy, I liked guns but had no interest in real guns, long-format videos, being in a stable relationship, admitting when I'm wrong. I'm sure there's plenty more. Story 38. Vegetables except for corn and potatoes, that's because they all came from a can. In my mid-20s, a guy cooked dinner for me and introduced me to roasted vegetables. Game changer. Story 39. Gardening. I used to hate to deal with my parents' garden because it was all weeding, and I had no say in what was grown. I love it now so much. Sleeping. I would fight it all the time, and now it feels delicious. Spicy food. Staying in. Story 40. American foods like macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, and bologna sandwiches, or avocado in savory dishes. I started liking everything after my first pregnancy. Story 41. Certain types of music have always been a part of my life. As a child, all I liked was rap music, never truly understanding the lyrics. Whenever anything else was played in the car, I would violently freak out, flailing around. However, I did have a parent who only listened to Christian rock, so that was a significant part of my musical landscape. Today, my tastes have broadened significantly, and I appreciate all genres except for Christian rock. Additionally, I was diagnosed with a range of conditions on the spectrum, so perhaps that played a role in my musical preferences and reactions. Story 42. I used to dislike diverse foods. I basically just ate macaroni and cheese as an exclusive food group. Now, later in life, I am addicted to sushi. There is just something about raw fish. Story 43. Most vegetables. I was super picky as a kid and even as a teenager. Now, I'll eat pretty much any type of food and, honestly, love vegetables of all kinds. Story 44. When I was a kid, dinner time was a struggle. I hated to eat and would avoid it any way possible. I would only eat plain tortilla chips, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and apples, much to my parents' disgust. They tried everything to get me to eat more, mostly physical punishment and neglect. When I went off to college, I struggled a lot and went to a psychologist to find out what was wrong with me. Turns out, quite a bit, including autism and avoidance/restrictive food intake disorder. My current partner now makes food so much more enjoyable and mixes safe food into tons of different meals that I can eat. No longer am I forced to try to eat boiled meat and cream cheese, but now I have 12 different meals and for snacks I can eat. So I guess eating. Story 45. Kids' movies. As a child, I thought that live action equaled better. But looking back as I've gotten older, I realized I was really missing out on how good they can be. Story 46. Marinated artichoke hearts. I told my mother that I was allergic to them when I was a kid. She would be like, "Yeah, okay. I am almost 30, and one of my favorite things to make for my mom is a creamy spinach and marinated artichoke orzo that I throw together with some skillet chicken. Artichoke hearts are now my absolute favorite. Oh my God,